Is Chicago about to blow it all up? Nikola Vucevic to the Knicks, Zach LaVine on the move, and a full-scale Bulls rebuild? Buckle up, Bulls Nation, because the NBA rumor mill is working overtime, and Chicago is at the center of it all. In the next 10 minutes, we're diving deep into the trades that could reshape the Bulls franchise and send shockwaves through the entire league. From Madison Square Garden to the Golden State, no stone will be left unturned. So hit that play button, because you won't want to miss a second of this Bulls bombshell. Welcome to Chicago Bulls News, your go-to source for the latest updates on the Windy City's favorite team. We've got you covered with breaking news, trade rumors, and in-depth analysis of everything Bulls. From United Center to the front office, we're bringing you the inside scoop. Hit subscribe and let's talk Bulls basketball. Let's kick things off with the bombshell that dropped earlier this week, rumors of a potential trade sending Nikola Vucevic to the New York Knicks. Now, I know what you're thinking, really? But hear me out, because this one's got some legs. According to sources close to both organizations, the Knicks have expressed strong interest in acquiring the Bulls' all-star center. New York has been on the hunt for a skilled big man to pair with their young core of R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, and Vucevic certainly fits the bill. But why would the Bulls even consider moving Vucevic? Well, it's no secret that Chicago has been struggling to find their identity this season. Despite boasting a talented roster, the team has failed to live up to expectations, and many believe it's time for a shake-up. Vucevic, while still a productive player, hasn't quite meshed with the Bulls system as well as the front office had hoped when they acquired him from Orlando. His numbers are solid, averaging around 17 points and 11 rebounds per game, but the team's overall performance has left much to be desired. The Knicks could offer a combination of young talent and draft picks. Names like Obi Toppin, Quentin Grimes, and even Mitchell Robinson have been floated as possible pieces in the deal. The Knicks also have a stockpile of future first-round picks that could sweeten the pot for Chicago. From the Bulls' perspective, this trade could provide an opportunity to hit the reset button and acquire assets for the future. Toppin and Grimes are both young players with upside, and additional draft picks would give Chicago more flexibility in rebuilding their roster. But here's where it gets interesting. Some insiders are suggesting that this potential Vucevic trade could be part of a larger plan to reshape the Bulls roster. Which brings us to our next hot topic. That's right, folks, the Zach LaVine trade rumors are heating up once again. It seems like every other week, we're hearing new rumblings about LaVine's future in Chicago. But this time, there's a twist. Multiple sources are reporting that several teams have intensified their pursuit of the two-time All-Star guard. The list of interested parties includes some usual suspects like the Lakers and Heat, but there are also some surprise contenders in the mix. One team that's been making waves in the LaVine sweepstakes is the Golden State Warriors. Yes, you heard that right. The Dubs are apparently looking to add even more firepower to their already star-studded lineup. Imagine LaVine running alongside Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's a scary thought for the rest of the league. But the Warriors aren't the only team in hot pursuit. The Dallas Mavericks have also emerged as a potential landing spot for LaVine. The idea of pairing him with Luka Doncic has Mavs fans salivating, and it's not hard to see why. So, what's driving all this LaVine trade talk? Well, it's a combination of factors. The Bulls' underwhelming performance this season has led many to believe that a major shakeup is necessary. LaVine's massive contract extension, which kicked in this year, has put a strain on Chicago's salary cap flexibility. There are concerns about LaVine's fit alongside DeMar DeRozan, with some arguing that their skill sets are too similar for optimal team success. Now, let's talk about what kind of return the Bulls could expect in a LaVine trade. Given his status as a premier scoring guard in his prime, Chicago would likely be looking for a haul that includes young talent, draft picks, and possibly a veteran contributor to help keep the team competitive in the short term. For example, a potential trade with the Warriors could involve Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, and multiple first-round picks. The Mavericks, on the other hand, might offer a package centered around Jaden Hardy, Josh Green, and future draft compensation. But here's the million-dollar question: should the Bulls actually pull the trigger on a LaVine trade? It's a complex issue with valid arguments on both sides. The case for trading LaVine. Financial flexibility. Moving LaVine's max contract would give the Bulls more room to maneuver in free agency and potentially build a more balanced roster. Fresh start. A trade could provide an opportunity to reset the team's culture and build around a new core of players. Maximizing value. LaVine's trade value may never be higher than it is right now, given his age and production. The case for keeping LaVine. Star power. Elite talents like LaVine don't come around often, and the Bulls might regret letting him go. Potential for improvement. At 28 years old, LaVine may still have room to grow and adapt his game to better fit the team's needs. Fan favorite. LaVine has become a beloved figure in Chicago, and trading him could alienate a significant portion of the fan base. Ultimately, the decision will come down to the Bulls' front office and their vision for the future of the franchise. But one thing's for sure: if LaVine does get traded, it'll send shockwaves throughout the NBA. Now, let's take a step back and look at how these two potential trades, Vucevic to the Knicks and LaVine to another contender, could be interconnected. If the Bulls decide to move both Vucevic and LaVine, it would signal a full-scale rebuild for the franchise. This would likely mean that other veterans like DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso could also be on the move. In this scenario, the Bulls would be looking at a complete roster overhaul, with an emphasis on acquiring young talent and draft picks. The goal would be to build a new core that can grow together and eventually compete for a championship. But here's where it gets really interesting. Some NBA insiders are speculating that the Bulls might not be done there. There are whispers that Chicago could be positioning itself to make a run at a superstar free agent in the coming years. Names like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who becomes a free agent in 2025, and Luka Doncic, potential free agent in 2026 if he declines his player option, have been mentioned as potential targets. While it might seem far-fetched now, clearing cap space and accumulating assets could put the Bulls in a position to make a serious pitch to a franchise-altering talent. Of course, this is all speculation at this point. But it's clear that the Bulls are at a crossroads, and the decisions they make in the coming weeks and months could shape the direction of the franchise for years to come. Let's not forget about the other players on the Bulls roster who would be affected by these potential moves. If Vucevic and LaVine are indeed traded, it would likely mean increased roles for some of the team's younger players. Patrick Williams, in particular, could see a significant boost in playing time and responsibility. The former fourth overall pick has shown flashes of potential but has struggled to find consistent minutes in a crowded rotation. A roster shakeup could provide him with the opportunity to prove himself as a core piece for the future. Coby White is another player who could benefit from a potential rebuild. The young guard has had an up-and-down career so far, but he's shown the ability to score in bunches when given the chance. With LaVine potentially out of the picture, White could step into a larger role in the backcourt. And let's not forget about Ayo Dosunmu. The Chicago native has become a fan favorite with his hustle and defensive intensity. In a rebuild scenario, Dosunmu could see increased minutes as the Bulls look to develop their young talent. On the flip side, veterans like DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso might find themselves in a difficult position if the team decides to go young. Both players have value to contending teams and could potentially be moved in separate deals to acquire even more assets for the rebuild. Of course, we can't discuss potential franchise-altering moves without considering the fan reaction. Bulls fans have been through a lot over the past few years, from the highs of the Butler era to the lows of the rebuild to the excitement of the DeRozan-LaVine pairing. Trading away popular players like Vucevic and LaVine would undoubtedly be met with mixed reactions from the fan base. Some would see it as a necessary step to build a true contender, while others might view it as giving up too soon on a talented core. There's also the question of legacy to consider. The Bulls are one of the NBA's most storied franchises, with 6 championships and a history of legendary players. Any major roster decisions will be made with an eye towards maintaining that winning tradition and eventually bringing another title to Chicago. All right, Bulls fans, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the potential Nikola Vucevic trade to the Knicks, to the latest Zach LaVine rumors, to the broader implications for the franchise, there's certainly no shortage of excitement surrounding the team right now. As always, it's important to remember that at this stage, these are still just rumors and speculation. But in the fast-paced world of the NBA, things can change in an instant. Whether the Bulls decide to stand pat with their current core or embark on a new rebuilding journey, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a fascinating few months in Chicago. What do you think about these potential moves? Should the Bulls trade Vucevic and LaVine, or try to make it work with the current roster? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.